Uh, Hello, everyone. This is a recording for Exquisite Corpse, Dungeons and Dragons adventure for 5th edition that I recently helped create, and this is a game on the Open Heart calendar. The Open Heart is an online community for OSR and indie tabletop role-playing games. I am Anya. I will be running the adventure today. Please introduce yourselves in the order that you connected.
My name is David, he, him, and I am going to be playing Ostran, a halfling cleric from the Menagerie Coast.
Hi, I'm Brandon, he, him, and I'm going to be playing Lita, a human fighter from Zadash in the Marrow Valley.
We are playing, of course, with safety tools. We are using Xcard, we are using OpenTable, and we have gone through our content warnings for the adventure. The adventure is now available if you were to want to download it. So, since we have already selected characters, give Okay, so let me just confirm that. Okay, so there, sorry, I totally forgot I had to set up that. Okay, so we're going to be playing this adventure with pre-gen characters, and I'm also testing some. Well, I've played with them before, but I'm testing some character sheet redesign that the players already have. So I think there's nothing else but to get into it. How do you feel about getting started?
Just one quick question in terms of ability economy.
Yeah.
Should we plan on having rests in the game? Should we be unloading our abilities? Should we be husbanding them carefully? It's like how often will we have a chance to rest?
This is not a really combat heavy adventure. There will be time for at least one short rest, but don't worry too much about spending your abilities. There will definitely not be time for a long rest. That's for certain.
All right.
Brandon, do you have any question?
No, not at all.
Okay, so have you opened the overload link I sent Brandon? Sorry.
I did. It says asking to join. Should I open it again?
There it is. There, you should be able to see it.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. So we're playing the Exquisite Corpse. There. Lita, Ostran. Lita, Austrian. You have traveled to the continent, looking probably for different ways to, or you have traveled through the continent looking for adventure, and you find yourselves today in the city of Rexentrum, the capital of the Imperium, at a new art show that probably has many different valuables for you to admire, for you to steal, if that would be your persuasion. But probably just because it's one of the quietest places on the city. Today is a day of celebration. Basically, all the streets are filled up. As you stepped into the gallery, you see an ample room, all white in marble. And on the center there is a statue, golden and white, spinning. This statue seems to be broken somehow. There is not a discernible shape to it, but there's some feathers on the ground. Feathers also carved from stone, from marble. As you make your way around the gallery, you see one man. He is tall, about 2 meters tall. Looking at all of the art pieces here with disdain, all of them except for one. Lita, Austrian, what would you like to do? Why are you today here in the gallery? Lita.
I had a dream that the Kryn, that there was something of the Kryn in this gallery.
Okay.
And I know that's kind of my unbidden destiny. And unfortunately, with things of the Kryn, I have never know that I've encountered one until I actually do. It's the kind of thing that is suddenly and powerfully true only in retrospect. It's like, what was that? And it's like, oh, yes, of course. So I'm looking around the gallery, waiting for something to catch my eye.
Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. Austrian.
Austrian's motivations are not that different, except I think they're much less mystical and tentative. He's here to steal something. He may not be here to steal it. He may be casing the joint this first time, but he has heard that there is a holy relic of the Kryn dynasty that's on display somewhere in this museum. And Austrian thinks that his pocket would be a much better place for a relic like that.
That's why we are together today. The Kryn prophecies have brought you together here to the gallery. One of the aspects of the Kryn dynasty that you are both familiar somewhat with, especially for you, Lita, from this dream that you've had, are these geometric patterns, especially. Particularly a figure of something like the dodecahedron. This figure flowing through space. And as you step in the gallery and you see this broken down sculpture on the center, you somewhat feel that, and the golden pieces and the feathers on the floor, you somewhat feel that these different golden pieces will make the form of the dodecahedron or something similar that you have seen in your dreams.
So I walk to a spot in the gallery, and Austrian can see me kind of sketching shapes in the air as I am looking at these things. Drawing moving my hand from one to the other as it's sitting in my line of view. As if I was Almost as if I was making a rune on the air, except I'm not a spellcaster. It fits, Ostron.
I am more interested. I sort of nod as I see you doing this. I saw you just addressed. You said you addressed me at the end there.
Yes, I said it. Ostron, it fits.
Yeah. So I sort of nod sort of absently, but I'm focused on the people. I think there's one man you said other than us.
Yeah, there's just one other man, a tall man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm focused on him. I'm trying to figure out what's his deal. Is he a threat?
Why is he here?
Why is he here? How could I get him to do what I want?
Yeah, he seems to be basically somewhat of an art snob. He is at this moment standing in front of a tapestry that's to the end of the gallery, on the opposite wall of the gallery, and he's looking at it, taking some notes, and basically just audibly snubbing at it so that you notice his presence. As Lita tells you about these pieces fitting, he turns around and tries to shush you.
Am I interfering with your thought processes? Is my barbarian jabber damaging your delicate cognitions?
He turns at you and says, "It's not that it damages it. It's just that if you are looking at this piece, then you certainly have no taste in art."
You're looking at one of them.
And he looks at the tapestry and he says, "Well, yes, the author didn't have any taste in art either."
So why can't we depreciate art as much as you can?
Oh, give it up, Forhan. I say to him, you, sir, have my friend pegged. He has never had any taste in art. That's why I drag him. She has never had any taste in art. That's why I drag her out here any chance I get. But it doesn't seem to be sinking in. I sort of amble over toward him and give a dismissive look up at the tapestry. No, it's no good at all. Honestly, I'm a big fan of the frieze up on the second floor.
Of the what, sorry?
Frieze, I think is how you pronounce it. Like a sort of marble mosaic type. I know. It's not a popular choice, but I think that's just people unable to see the true genius of the artist.
He walks to you, Ostran. He invites you over, Lita. As he's walking towards one of the pieces here. It's basically the jawbone of a large whale. It's maybe 2 meters wide, and the jawbone is carved with different designs, mainly spirals. And he asks for your opinion.
Can I give a sense, get a read on him for what he's thinking?
Yeah, sure. You have different traits. What trait would you like to? Do you feel that applies to this situation?
My background says, you had a way of people, what makes them tick with you tease out their heart's desire, the few minutes of conversation. Of the traits, ideals, and flaws in my sheet, the closest one that seems to apply is that I'm a born gambler who can't resist taking a risk, without just implying me to just like go and say something bold rather than try to read him.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Go ahead and you will roll a d20. You will roll your proficiency dice, which is a d6.
All right, let's see how we do this. Okay.
So sorry, I'm not familiar with Albert, so you're...
Yeah, I'm also figuring it out. There we go.
There's...
Okay.
Your dice will be... you can roll...
Look at that.
Look at that. You can roll outcome if you want, Brandon. But basically, in your top left corner, you have a dice icon.
You get a tray, and you can pull the things out. Okay.
So for people watching the stream who may not see this, I just rolled a 20 natural plus a 3 in my proficiency dice.
For sure. That will be a 20, 23, and your charisma, which is a +1, 24 total. He looks at you, and he looks at you expectingly that you will comment on the piece. He sighs, and he basically recognizes you taking the over in, and you sense that he's admiring of you in this very second that you are trying to decipher the over, but he's clearly like with his body language, he's trying to turn onto another one of the pieces, like anxiously trying to get you there, which will be the astrolabe.
This, I mean, there's some skill here, but I mean, it's fairly pedestrian, don't you think? I mean, if you want real art, you got to look at that. And I point toward the astrolabe.
Sure.
That is, that, and I sort of walk over toward it. That does not just have skill; that has vision. Don't you agree, my friend?
Oh, it has. It is more than vision; it has meaning, which a lot of these others really they're just seeing. The artist is just trying to render something that they saw, rather than trying to depict something they imagined.
Lita, as you turn onto the astrolabe, there's an astrolabe. There's a figure of a man on the center of the universe. But you will be familiar with part of this depiction. This is one of those depictions of the cosmology that are based on geometrical figures. One of the figures, it's of course a dodecahedron.
I'm moved to touch it.
As you both get closer to the astrolabe, you feel it somehow pulling at you. And then, give me a second. There I am. And then you feel the floor slipping from your feet. Give me 1 second, please. There I am. You feel the floor slipping from your feet, and suddenly you are floating through space. There's nothing beneath you except but one person sitting in the center of this basically infinite space.
Both of us are
here? Sorry?
Both of us are here, or just him?
No, but both of you are here.
I was going to grab you if I felt like I was slipping away.
But not the art snob?
The art is not. No, the art is not. Give me a second. There I am. Sitting in the center of the room, I'm gonna say you are together in here. Let me add Let me add you to the map. We have a cleric. And we have a fighter. There you are.
Okay.
Yeah, sitting in the center of the room. There's a man, a tall figure, who tells you, it's been a while. It's been a while since somebody visited here, and even then, it's been a while since somebody really truly admired true proficiency, true taste for art. And you recognize the voice as being the same man from the gallery. This gigantic figure, probably 10 meters, about, I don't know, 30 feet tall, sitting in the center of the room. He addresses both of you and expectantly, and he says, "So, what do you have to offer now?"
You mean other than a pretty face? I try to smile and flutter my eyelashes.
What are you selling?
He laughs a bit. You notice him clearly entertained by you. And he says, "How about an exit, miss?" And he asks you to introduce yourself.
My name is Letha. I'm from the Marrow Valley. Really rather uncultured place, but I learned better.
He tells you,
Go
ahead.
No. And my name's Dirk. People have been chasing me out of places since I was old enough to run.
But you weren't very fast.
Just fast enough.
He stands up and he says, "Friends, my name is Angelo Seraphi. And as you can see," he's pointing towards space, and you're floating. There's stars, there's planets, there's galaxies. And he says, "And you are now in my grasp. So, Miss, sorry, okay. So, Miss Lita, I have to say, if you ask what I am selling, how about I am selling you a way out in exchange for, let's say, entertainment." It gets so dull here in outer space.
Yeah, I mean, it is lovely, but
I hold
a certain sameness there.
I hold up a hand, but as he starts to like agree, or seems like he's going to agree, and like, let's not sell ourselves short. We're extremely entertaining.
Oh, I never said we weren't entertaining. I said here seems pretty grand, but I imagine after a few millennia, it gets, old.
It gets terribly, terribly dull indeed, Miss Lita. So, how about it?
We are the most entertaining people we know.
He walks towards you, and he looks like he's walking towards you. But as he takes these extremely long steps, you see a space warping around him, rather than him moving. And you get a tiny bit closer to him. And he is getting a bit, I wouldn't say desperate, but impatient. So he tells you, "So how about it, please?"
So,
Do you want to go first, or shall I?
one quick question. Are we in this? Is this the artifact? Are we in the artifact right now?
Yes, as players, I will tell you you are within the artifact.
Okay.
For the characters, I think it wouldn't be immediately apparent, but
Well,
they will
I'm
recognize
asking
this
this in
man.
character. I'm asking this in character.
Okay, you're asking this in character.
Yeah.
He will give me a charisma check, please. If you think one of your traits applies.
I'm not gonna stretch this too far here. I'll just roll straight. How do I? Nope.
He starts laughing, and he says, the simple minds wouldn't understand. I knew you were simple minds and wouldn't understand this truly genius matter. And he says, addressing both of you, he says, have you heard of the society, the Exquisite Society?
Yes.
What have you heard?
More lies than truth, I'm sure. But you know, who hasn't heard of the Exquisite Society? Well, most people, but these the most secretive and powerful people operating behind the scenes. As I said, I'm sure more lies than truth, but that's just how I like it.
Lita.
Oh, I'm sure. I've heard the name from someone or another in the myriad.
Just to be clear, I'm 100% BSing here.
Yeah. Clearly.
I have never heard of this thing in my life.
Clearly.
I've heard the name from someone or another in the myriad, but they didn't dwell on it because they felt that it wasn't profitable in the monetary sense.
He looks at you and says, idiots, all of them, but one. The creator, the maker, the artist. And he tells you that, yes, this is his work. This, signaling himself, is his work. His most exquisite work.
I'm doing some quick mental math here.
So, shall I go first? I will. So I am going to floating is interesting. I'm going to take out my trident.
Yeah, sure.
And I am going to do a weapon dance with it.
Okay, yeah.
This is I am a samurai type of fighter, and so we practice intricate dancing. We have intricate dance sort of kata practices that we do. And because I think that this relates to the Kryn and the dodecahedron, I am going to do a 12-sided figure.
Okay.
Which is weaving back and forth, thrusting. It's like it's interesting floating rather than using my own footwork, but I will adapt to myself because I have a plan for everything. At least my traits say so.
Sure. Go ahead, roll a 20, roll your proficiency dice.
As he
and add your dexterity, please. Go ahead.
As he brushes by me, I brush up against him and sort of give him a little wink, using my Blessing of the Trickster ability. to touch a willing creature other than yourself to give advantage and ability checks for 1 hour or until I use this feature again.
Okay.
Oh, too many dice.
Let me
I'm sorry.
check on that.
I accidentally rolled too many dice. So let me do it again.
Yeah, and you roll with advantage, which only applies to your d20.
And what does that mean, advantage?
You roll 2 d20s and keep the higher die.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had, no, I'll take the original roll since I did accidentally roll 2 d20s. And so I had a 10 and a 15. And
Okay.
then proficiency die was a 2. So that would be a 17.
Okay. 17.
I'm going to take my lack of dexterity with this. So.
Let me check on this. Okay, sure. 17. You dance, you move through.
If I get a dexterity bonus, then it is a 20.
Okay, with your dexterity, that's 20. Yeah, your dexterity applies. You move through the space, you are dancing. He's looking at you and starts applauding. As he claps, music starts sounding all around you, coming from everywhere. At the precise rhythm of your steps. And he, as you finish your number, he says, "Excellent, excellent, Miss Lita."
I give a appropriate bow as a courtier might, and put my trident away.
He nears you, and from thin air he extends to you a golden rose.
And I take it from his hands and bow again in recognition of the gift. And I will tuck it into my shirt.
And then he looks at you, Ostran. Moves directly towards you. Again, as he's moving, he stays in place, but you feel space all around warping.
It's a good trick, isn't it? Gosh, it
And
make
you
getting a
say-
sandwich so much easier if you could just make the world move up to you. Never have to get out of bed.
And he says, "What do you then have to offer, my connoisseur friend?"
My art is much less physical than my good friend over there. I am a connoisseur of words. It is I sort of pause, like sort of pondering, like, is this dumb? And I'm like, no, I'm gonna go for it. Not the words on the page, like that poem back in that terribly pedestrian museum. I honestly, the fact that you can stand to be based in the material plane there, that must gall you so much. But no, my art is the spoken word. Angel of creation. And that is what I offer to you. Words. Surely you are aware of the art of creation. And magic can create, but true words can create a reality even without magic behind them. A reality in the mind of the listener. And what I have to say to you is that you are selling yourself short. This city, this museum, what do you get? You get the posers and the people there to be seen. Maybe once a month they let in the uneducated poor to gawk. No, what you are what this artifact is for the people in the creation is just a mere ornament, a monument to someone else's taste, not the exquisite beauty of yourself in this artifact. And what I have to say to you is that the reality I will create with my words is that you need to see the world, to take your world and take it to much different parts of the world, because there you can find true appreciation beyond these Philistines and pedants here in the capital.
As you are speaking, you see from his back a pair of wings extend, then a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth. He extends 12 wings in total. And he's trying to contain himself, but he's just feeling the flattery is, of course, getting to him. And go ahead and give me a charisma check, please.
All right.
And I think it's still you're a born gambler for sure.
So let's add that and that. There we go.
That's a nice roll.
It's an 18 plus 5 plus 1, or 24.
Yeah, sure. 24 it's very, very good. He's listening to you. His wings spread further and further with each word that you are saying. And suddenly his face is up to you. And at this point his face is probably like at least your height. And he says, "So, you're speaking of a tour."
The grandest tour ever conceived.
He looks at Lita and he says, "And you would be willing to help me in this tour, my new friends?"
We have been half the places and have longed to go the other half. You could scarcely find guides more knowledgeable than willing.
He looks at both of you and he says, "But alas, the gallery. The work cannot leave the gallery unless it's complete. Unless yes, pedestrian, but I guess, but I guess committable work is complete." He looks at both of you and he says, "Would you be willing to do me a service?"
In return for the honor of taking this artifact on tour?
Says, yes, in the honor of helping me. And as Miss Lita says, if you were to find a more apt guide, that will be suitable too.
I would be honored to do you this service.
He says,
Name it.
"Go ahead to all of these pieces of so-called art, please, back in the gallery. Find the different components that are missing from the work and fix it. Fix it for me so that we all may leave this wretched place."
Well, that sounds like a lot of favors rather than just one, but nevertheless, words are my specialty, not math, so I'm happy to comply.
I agree.
As you are saying, words are my specialty. Again, you feel the floor getting off your feet, and you both finish your sentence standing in front of the broken statue, and then in your hand you have one feather, one extremely large feather, that in this very second doesn't make much sense with the statue. But you, especially you, Lita, you feel that it will be a piece of the center of the over in the center.
Wow. I think wow.
Yeah, he was certainly something.
That was a seraph. I mean, a real one.
Yeah, no, I mean, he thought a lot of himself, but he deserves it.
I think a lot of him.
Yeah,
I don't think he needs anybody around to think a lot of him in order. Good gravy.
Look, if you think I'm opposed to people having a healthy regard for their own abilities, you have sadly mistaken me, my friend.
Oof. Well, so these are we have to find to fix the different.
While he's thinking, if she's thinking, I walk over to the poem.
Yeah, as you walk around, you start noticing the different plaques that are next to each one of the overs, and you get to the poem. The poem reads La Paloma, and as you are looking at it, the dove, and as you are looking at it, the words start leaking water one by one, and a pool of water starts forming beneath your feet. What do you want to do?
As much as I don't like getting wet, I stand my ground for a little bit to see what's happening here.
Is it weeping or are there homes?
It will seem to be weeping. The words are arranged so that it will be a city's landscape. So some of them go down, some of them go up, and you start reading this poem about a dove that was missing their loved one, and so they wept. The dove wept itself to death.
What? Sorry, is missing its loved one?
A dove.
A dove. Okay.
A dove.
I look over at the feather and see if it seems dovey.
No, this is a seraph feather. Okay. Look at the size of it.
And water suddenly is reaching your ankles, and you are starting to sink into it.
Do I see any other doves? Is the dove's lover also a dove from the poem?
The poem will suggest so, yes.
Do I see anything dovey in this room?
Not really. There's some bird chants coming from from the other wall. That it's a crack on the wall. There's bird chants and some howling, some animal noise in general.
I wade over to the crack in the wall then.
Okay, you step back and the water, the tears that are dropping from the poem stop, and the water suddenly starts raining towards the floor of the gallery. You walk to the crack on the wall, and you feel a rush of air, of cold air, going towards you. What do you want to do, Lita?
Each of these things is a little world.
You look at it, and you see it's like some miniatures. It's like a diorama that's inside the crack. You see woods, you see a mountain far away, you hear birds calling, and the cold air.
When the water was pooling around our ankles, you said it was as we were sinking into the water?
Yeah, you seem to be sinking into the water, yes.
Austrian, I think each of these is a different place, and that the solutions to them perhaps might be found in them.
Yes. Are the poems the problems found within each one? I would suspect that. My guess was that the problems would be found in a different one.
Might be, but well, let's. Do you want to take a look at all of them? And
Nah, let's just try this one. And I sort of reach out to touch the crack in the wall.
the tapestry, that one.
No, the crack in the wall filled with miniature model trees.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, you reach towards it, and you feel the air rushing. It's trying to push you away, but as it's pushing you away, as you are facing the wind, and the wind is pushing you, the wind is pushing you because you are at the top of a mountain. Uh, you are in a clear inside the forest at the top of a mountain. It's roughly, I would say, about 10 feet in diameter, this clear. And you hear some animals making, some birds flying. You hear some howls, some howling in the distance, and some traces of smoke down the path in the mountain. Give me a second to open
Smoke
a
looks
different map.
I'm going to arm myself, being outdoors in an unfamiliar space.
Starting. There you are. Yes. You
Yeah,
arm yourself.
I pull out my bow and stick a couple of loosen up arrows.
I take no such precautions.
You don't have to.
I've got a mace. I've got a crossbow. I'm in no particular rush to take them out. Uh,
It's
my friend, can we please get through here without killing everything that moves for
I don't.
once?
I'd much prefer to steal than kill. You know that. But if something decides that we're tonight's dinner, I should like to discourage it.
Give me please uh, a wisdom check, Lita. And if you feel one of your traits will apply, you will use your proficiency.
Okay. I'm a little confused as to how to properly add dice.
You click them multiple ones.
Oh, you click on multiple ones.
So I click the D20, not the one at the top, but the one further down, and then the D6, and they both get added to the tray, and then you click roll.
I see. Right. 19, and what is my wisdom today? It is -1, so 18.
Okay, sure.
Not much.
What
My
trait
strong
do you feel applies for this situation?
a plan for what to do when things go wrong. This is pretty. Getting dumped at the top of the mountain seems pretty wrong.
Okay, sure. Yeah, you give me a second. You have some outdoors training for sure. You're a fighter. You are in a clear, and you notice that this is not precisely a natural clear. You see a path ahead, and you start looking for some signs of whatever people would have made here. The people who would have made the clear, opened the clear, or made the path. And you notice some of the trees are trimmed different than the others. The other trees are growing naturally, and these trees have been tended to by someone. Yes, here. It's 8 trees. You notice 8 different trees that have been carefully pruned by someone. What do you want
Look
to
at
do?
that. Look, Austrian. Do you see here?
They're
These
trees.
these trees are. Pay attention. That's a natural. That's a natural tree. You see how this one has had all of its lower branches trimmed, and then the other ones thinned out, clearly on by intent.
Uh,
This is a so. I think we're standing in a ritual site or something.
well, at least someone has tried to spruce the place up.
Well, sprucing up the outdoors is a never-ending task unless it's to a very particular end.
As long as it's someone else's task.
Well, we're likely to find whoever trimmed these trees nearby. That's what I'm saying.
Do I know anything about what kind of rituals this might be involved with? I mean, it sounds like druidic stuff, which is not really my specialty. But
Maybe you've had a beer with a druid or two.
You get near the trees. You feel the snow. It's deep, so it's a little bit hard to get to them. And you notice certain carvings, and they are not precisely runes that, well, as you say, you wouldn't be familiar with runes or to read runes, but they are not angular in the way that runes would be. You look at them and you think that they might have meaning for certain. Each one of these different 8 trees has different runes, but it's not apparent immediately for you.
I point them out and say, "This looks like druid crap, maybe." And look, I slept with a druid once, but I can't say I paid a lot of attention to what she was saying. So I mean, at the time, yes, it was all very important at the time, but I got nothing here.
You see, the other things that you see are the path leading down the mountain and a column of smoke in the distance.
Does the path lead toward the column?
Does the path lead toward the column? Let me mark the column of smoke. It's right there.
It could be. Let's go for there. And the lack of being stuck on a snowy mountain might be injurious to our health if we up here too long without shelter.
And we're at the very top.
Yeah, you're at the top of the mountain.
Okay. So the path lead. If we want to get to the house, we would go toward the path. Is what I'm gathering.
That would be my assumption. I can't imagine anybody building a dwelling on a mountain like this without clearing away to and fro, at least.
Sure. Lead on, mighty warrior.
Okay, trail on, less mighty halfling.
Yeah, the snow for Ostrom probably reaching his waist.
Are you going to be all right? I mean, walking.
Yes, I will be all right walking.
Fine.
I will scream if I'm not all right.
All right, good. I've heard you scream before. I'll recognize it.
I'll have you know, I have several screams, each of which has a different meaning, depending on who I am that day.
I can well believe it. Use a generic one for my benefit so that I'll know it's you.
No appreciation for art.
No, all the appreciation in the world. But if you need me to grab you because you've stepped into a pit, then I'll have to act quickly. Oh, this is always as we're trudging down the hill.
It's not too cold today, but there's some wind gusts every now and then. But the snow is deep, so the road leading down is taking longer than you would have expected. After maybe half an hour, you reach a bifurcation on the road. The left one definitely leading to the smoke trace that you notice from the top of the mountain, and the other one going to the base. What do you want to do?
Left, I think. I'd say to Austrian. Austrian. I turn around, hoping that I'm not like looking at a blank snowfield.
No, that my like nose and eyes are poking out of the little snow path that you've forged.
Yeah, no,
The,
I've cut a path for you, so at least there's that. Looks like the left one goes to the house. Shall we take that one?
I appreciate heading as quickly as possible toward any possible sign of civilization.
Then left it is.
Just start walking. The road is windy, so it takes a while. After about, I will say, an hour and a half of walking through the snow, you see a cabin in the middle of the forest. Give me a second. Okay, yeah. You see a cabin. There's a large chimney coming out of it. The smoke rises certainly from here. You see some firewood stuck nearby. And give me a second. Yes. And as you arrive here, you see two other paths leaving the cabin. What do you want to do?
I check out the cabin for any obvious signs of things of interest on the outside, and if I don't see any, I go knock on the door.
I agree.
You go knocking on the door. Yeah. You approach the house to knock on the door, and through the window you see a woman, a small woman, really, a Darban woman, sitting in a table, fletching some arrows. She hasn't noticed you yet.
She looks friendly.
Well, she can probably take care of herself if she lives by herself on the side of a mountain. So, don't make any quick assumptions. But yeah, at least this isn't the kind of place that I'd live in if I got attacked regularly by marauding orcs or things like that. So probably she'll be friendly. Give a knock.
Knock on the door.
You look at her stand up. She doesn't gain much height from standing up. She walks towards the door, and she says, "I'm coming." And you notice her voice cracking up a bit. Probably she has a cold or something. She says, Who is it at this hour of the day?
Freezing travelers, hoping to warm up.
She opens the door. You notice the door is really heavy as she's pulling it, and she says, "If you're freezing, then go ahead." And you look at her, Lita, and she certainly has a hand axe tied to her waist. And there's other weapons around here, not anything precisely, let's say, martial, but she certainly will know how to handle herself, as you were saying.
Thank you. We appreciate the hospitality. let's go inside before we waste too much of your fire.
Yes, theory. And she's patting down the snow from both of you.
Oh yeah, you know, knock off as much of the snow on her doorstep as possible before coming in and dumping it all over her hearth.
And I can do that voice in Spanish, but I cannot do it in English, and I wasn't expecting that. She asks you if you have had anything to eat.
Not for the last few hours, no.
I'm actually quite hungry. Quite
it's,
full, I'm sorry. Quite full. But thank you. Much appreciated.
You notice she has a pot of something in the fire. She's serving herself, and she takes a larger bowl and gives it to you, Lita. As she sits to a table and she tells you, Ostran, are you sure, dear, you don't want anything to eat?
Quite sure. I had a very large lunch. But I'm very touched by your hospitality.
And she goes, yes, it's no problem. I'm just glad you weren't eaten by the wolves out there.
See, I told you there were wolves out there.
Of course there are wolves. There are wolves everywhere.
She starts eating. She
Can I
puts
tell,
away
can I
her
tell about how
arrows.
old she? About how old is she in dwarven terms?
Yes, she looks old even for a dwarf.
Okay, so
you notice.
I'm going to address her as grandmother because, you know, unless even I know a more appropriate dwarven thing, but that's a respectful term.
Yes.
Well, grandmother, thank you so much for your hospitality. It is what do you do here on this mountainside, all alone here in this cabin? I mean, a fine place to live, but desolate and remote.
She tells you, give me a second. She tells you, I cannot even remember when I first moved out here, but it's peaceful, you know? Except for sometimes the wolves come over here. Sometimes the giants come over here. Who seem nice often enough, but except when they are hungry, she says.
I imagine a giant is the very thing for eating all your stores.
She says, yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible when it happens, but it's life, you know? And she starts thinking, and she says, I really cannot remember when I first moved here.
Almost as if you always have.
She looks at you, Ostran, and she says, well, of course I couldn't have always been here. And
No,
and she
not.
seems confused at the question. She seems really confused at the question.
It's just how I like people.
Well, we thank you for your hospitality. Is there some little thing that we can do in recompense?
Give me a second. Yes, she says, oh, if you... She first asks you if you are able to handle the weather. She goes like, there's certainly some things you could help me with, but I'm worried. but I'm worried about your safety, you know, especially looking at Ostran.
I'll catch my death of cold, but hopefully only from cold.
She goes, there's a lake. Go ahead, please.
No. He's sturdier than he looks.
You would have to be to reach this place for certain. And she says, there's a lake south of here. If you are so inclined, you could help me bring some of my what's the word I'm looking for? Nets. Some of my nets I left there yesterday. There will be some fish that you are welcome to serve yourself to, but if you can bring the rest to me.
Is the lake frozen over or partly frozen?
She looks at you and she says, "No, not all of it is not all of this. Not all of it at this time of year."
Sure. It's the least we could do to repay you for your hospitality. I mentally do some math about how many chains of help requests we're going to end up on before we finally get what we want.
Since we don't know what we want. Yeah.
I also think, maybe we should have done some little more exploration of the other artifacts before plunging right into one. But
maybe.
What's been done is done, and now you just roll with the dice, as I always say. Play with the hand you've been dealt.
We'd be happy to retrieve your net. And bring the catch back here. Is there anything we should watch out for other than the cold water?
The wolves there. The wolves really do look out for the wolves, and try not to get too far west. There's a cemetery over there, and I don't like to be superstitious, but nothing good ever comes out of going there.
If anything comes out of there, it can't be good. Right, Ostran?
Well, I don't know. I met a very nice vampire once.
You are lying.
Really? After all the years we've known each other?
Will, be careful. Thank you.
Do you leave the cabin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Once we've warmed up and dried off my hair.
It's probably been like an hour, maybe.
Yeah.
Do you want to head to the lake or do you want to head west?
Let's go to the lake where we're supposed to go rather than the place we're not supposed to go.
Let's go to the place we're not supposed to go is about what I was going to say.
Honestly, do you want to you don't even like turning undead that much.
I mean, there's lots of things I don't like to do, but I do them because you have to.
Yes, well, you don't have to turn any undead if we don't walk through the cemetery.
All I'm saying is a weird mystical cemetery seems like a more likely place for us to find something of interest that we can use to fix one of these artifacts than some half-frozen lake surrounded by wolves. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's
no sign of doves yet.
Well, we're going to, if we can get the net and bring it back, then we can talk about going to the cemetery.
I think we go to the cemetery. I just have, don't know what this place looks like on a map, but I just have a sense that we can loop around to the cemetery and then hit up the lake. And rather than having to carry fresh fish up to the cemetery.
I was thinking of taking the fish right back up to the cabin, honestly, and then we can go to the cemetery if you feel like it.
You're too gullible, my friend.
There's nothing gulling involved here. We decided we were going to go and get our nets, and so we ought to do that.
Very well.
Are you suspicious of the dwarven grandmother?
I'm suspicious of everyone.
She going to turn into moon ogre and devour us in our sleep or something?
It's possible. I was thinking of other dangers first, but sure. Let's go to the lake, get the fish. You have no sense of excitement.
I do have a sense of excitement.
And we head off.
You head down. It's about maybe 40 minutes walk. Maybe 40 minutes walk. And as you are approaching the base, as you're approaching the lake, sorry, you notice a tower. A bit, the top of a tower, a bit further from the lake. And
See, lots of coincidences.
And as you see the lake, you notice a giant on the other side, sitting, fishing with what seems like a gigantic trunk, a gigantic fishing line, and a terribly large dog or wolf sitting next to him. What do you want to do?
Well, she did warn us about both of these.
Well, but the giants, she said, were mostly friendly. If is
Can we see where her nets are set from where we are at the tree line?
I think she would have told you that they are on the other side of the lake. Yeah, they are on the side that the giant will be.
Of course, this can't be on this side. Can't keep the lake between us and the giant.
Let's just bypass this and come back.
He's not going anywhere soon.
Yeah, I mean, he could leave whenever, I suppose, but let's sneak around the edge of the clearing and see what we notice.
Well, he might be willing to fetch the net out for us. That would be cool. Be a lot easier for him.
We'll deal with that at which point we get to it. Let's stay hidden for now.
Sure.
Fine.
Then you are going to this side, right? The giant will be over here, and you are going on this side.
Yes. We'll stick to the tree line.
You're trying to stay out of sight.
Okay. If you're trying to stay out of sight explicitly, then please give me a dexterity throw. Dexterity check, both of you. Yeah, both of you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you have a trait that you feel applies, please do.
I'm trying to. How do you get rid of a die?
You just do it. Just start it over. It'll be fine.
Okay, start over. Fine. I'm gonna start over.
Can I justify anything here?
I don't think I can.
I don't want to get too cheesy.
No, I can't justify it. So I'm just gonna roll. That's a big 5.
I got a 6, so you can tell which one of us paid attention in sneaking school.
Okay, then you do your best to try to not get noticed. But as you are stepping over, you see the wolf standing up, looking at you, and it starts to bark. For the wolf, this will be reaching you will be almost no problem. What do you want to do?
Acting like I intended to do this the whole time, I wave across the clearing to the giant and say, "Hello! Nice
The
day
gi-
to fish, isn't it?"
the giant answers you, but it's not in a language that you really understand.
I do not let that deter me in the slightest, and I just continue talking, like just trying to judge by like body language and tone, like what he might be saying, and like trying to carry on a conversation as if I'm following the gist.
You notice him stand up, and he raises his hand, and he's trying to wave at you, or he certainly is trying to signal to you. Give me a wisdom check, please.
All right. Does the giant have a pretty face?
You tell me, does the giant have a pretty face for Astran?
I think Ostran has fairly low standards for what kind
The giant does indeed then has a pretty face.
which
Not
I
all
cannot
giants are
resist.
ugly, just many of them.
So this is a wisdom check.
Wisdom,
Yep.
yes.
So 23.
23, yeah, that's fairly good. He stands up slowly, and what for some people will be him waving at you, you notice he's trying to stop you.
I hold up a hand to hold back Letha.
Sure. I wasn't advancing. I'm happily make it obvious that I'm not advancing.
He's trying to stop you. He's grabbing the wolf, and he sits down the dog, and he signals to you to be quiet.
I nod and put a finger over my mouth in an exaggerated fashion.
And makes a gesture to you to get over there.
So now he said don't come close, but now he's saying do come close, or just come close
Well,
quietly.
he told us to hold up while he grabs his wolf and made his wolf sit down.
Okay.
To prevent his wolf from tearing off after us, which is what was going to happen. And now he is now that he's got a hold on his wolf, he's gesturing us forward.
I'm really better with people than animals.
Yeah, but if this guy was going to kill us, he would have just let the wolf attack us, right?
No. I creep over toward him, trying not to alarm the wolf.
Yeah, it takes several minutes for you to get over there. As you pick up your pace, he signals to you again to go slowly. And as you get near enough to him, you notice he is trying to keep you quiet in order not to scare away the fish.
Okay. Yes. So we're
He starts speaking to you, murmuring a bit, which of course his murmurs are these really loud words.
yes. Don't scare away the fish.
Exactly. Don't scare away the fish. And you don't really understand him, but he tells you if the old woman. Do you recognize? Sorry, I forgot to tell you the name of the old urban lady. He tells you if Katarina has sent you for her stuff. About Katarina. You don't understand him, but you catch the name Katarina.
I sort of nod and sort of pantomime a long beard on my face.
And the net, right?
Yeah.
So it's like Katarina, yeah.
He picks something in his fishing rod, and out of the lake comes this fish, at least 20 feet long, gigantic. He starts laughing. He pats you, Ostran, in the back. He's celebrating, and I think you get immediately 6 points of damage, which he, of course, didn't intend at all. And Lita, he starts pointing to Katarina's nets.
Yeah, I make a sympathetic wince when he bets on it. So I go over and I haul her nets out of the water.
He starts curing one of the fish fins and feeds it to the wolf. He cuts a smaller one for you, Ostran, which of course weighs about 30 kilos, 60 pounds, and asks you to feed it to the wolf.
Ask me to feed it to the wolf?
Yeah. He's giving you a treat for the wolf.
Yeah, this is a treat for the wolf. That's a real dire wolf there.
Very gingerly, like extremely tentatively, with my arms outstretched as long as I can.
Yeah, so this treat's only a little smaller than you are.
Wolf starts moving from right to left, excited about it. And I think it's one of those wolves that will, one of those dogs that will bite off your hand if it could. But of course, this creature is enormous, so give me a dexterity save, please. You don't have...
Yeah, dexterity save.
Save, that will be a d20 plus your dexterity save, which is 0, I think.
That's a 1. Oh, 7. Still bad.
The wolf takes it, and you feel its teeth basically cutting at your hand. It hurts. He doesn't take off your hand, of course, because it stops in the last second. Like he knows it's going to get told off. So it stops in the last second, and the giant pets it and looks at you like you have to forgive it. It just gets excited.
Dogs will be dogs.
Dogs will be dogs.
Animals.
Yes.
I hate animals so much.
No wonder it didn't work out between you and the druid.
Yeah, no, that was that got stormy for a while.
He helps you with the nets. He helps you pack everything. And basically, you notice him trying to make conversation as best as he can. He's signaling over the tower. He's signaling over the cemetery that Katarina told you, like asking you not to go over there. And he signals over the trees to the west, like he's signaling and making these gestures, like, "Did you come from there?"
I'll answer.
Yes.
Point. Well, we didn't come from the west, right? Because that's the cemetery.
The east. Sorry, the east.
East. Okay. Yeah. I basically nod and agree to whatever he is.
Well, no, except there is something from the east. So no, I'm going to shake my head and point to the north. Point up.
He nods at you. He's a bit confused, but he certainly seems to know that you are not from here. Unlike Katarina, who is asking like you traveled here from some normal means.
So there's something to the east. Maybe it's a. I mean, we're up on the side of a mountain. There must be another way in or out of here for people who aren't giants. So that's probably what's to the east.
Well, if
maybe
you won't let us go to the west, we can go to the east and check that out.
We can. Why don't we go back up to Katarina's and have that hand looked at?
Oh, that?
Unless you're going to do it yourself.
No, Sahanin, darling, would you be a dear and deal with this? And I cast healing word.
I'm not
sure Sahani will appreciate the camaraderie, the familiarity, but you healed yourself.
Now, I'll just do it first level.
You're on first. You're on first name basis. Is that it? Let's take the nets up so that we won't have to be dragging this around, and then we'll go check out the sites.
Personally, I'm trying to do as little walking through the snow as possible, but sure.
If you want to sit on a stump here, but I don't recommend it.
How much damage did I take from the wolf? I didn't actually.
From the wolf, you took a d4. I forgot to roll it. Give me a second. You take 3 damage from the wolf.
Okay. 24 plus 8. I'm back. Okay. I rolled well, so I'm almost full again.
Yeah. After you drag the nets over to Katarina's. Katarina is not here at the moment when you return. She has these lines to hang the fish, to hang her nets. So you can leave it there if you want to.
That's what I want. We'll wrap up a couple of fish for us, in case we get hungry. And head back on south. Do you want to check out this tower or this cave tunnel, something?
We can try the east first.
Yeah.
I doubt the tower is actually a situated inn. So
no, probably not. Yeah. So let's take the fort to the east.
To the east. Okay, as you approach, as you go back, the giant is not there either. The sun is starting to go down. It's been at least 3-4 hours since you've been out here, especially from the trek up and the trek down, back again down. You head to the east and you are standing in front of. Give me a second, I need to roll something. Yes, there's no. You come to a clear, and there's this archway in the middle of the forest. It's completely
I love a
dark.
mysterious archway.
It's completely dark. It doesn't lead to anywhere beyond. It's just standing in the middle of the trees. So it shouldn't be dark, but it's completely dark.
This has portal written all over it.
No, I don't see any writing.
I thwip you a little bit. Not enough to do damage.
I go closer and I inspect the portal a little bit.
Yes, the portal has six different runes carved onto it. These are runes, unlike the ones that you found at the top of the mountain. And each one of these, give me a second here. Each one of it is a different bird's or creature feather, rather.
Is there a dove?
Is there a dove? Yes, there is one that will be close to a dove. There's one, the largest one, that it's very similar to the one you picked up from Angela.
Really?
And these are runes depicting these carvings depicting these feathers.
Carvings depicting these feathers, yes.
I tried tapping the dove symbol.
Yes, give me an intelligence check, please.
This is not really gambling, so 12.
12. Okay, you touch it, you examine it. Nothing is changing really about the archway. You still can go through it. Or
Try the big one.
Okay, I fiddle with the big feather rune, the carving of the big feather.
Because ultimately that's what we're trying to get here, isn't it?
We have the big feather. We
have a big feather.
Yeah.
I think we're trying to get more. I think every one of them, what's going to repair that artwork is seraphim feathers. And we got one from the astrolabe that he gave us directly. And the other ones we have to find. So I think what we may be looking for in every case is a huge feather.
you got to touch the larger one. And the portal,
I think you feel certain energy beneath your palm as you touch the larger one.
I think that's our cue.
You to do what?
Go through. Unless you like waiting around in just deep snow.
I go through.
Roll
too.
a d8 for me, please.
Both of us or just one?
Just you.
Two.
2. Okay. You go through, and Lita, what do you do?
Oh, I was trying to go through with him. And
Okay,
that failed.
then you go through at the same time, and you appear in the middle of a large dining room. And we are going to take a short rest there. It's 6:35 I have, so what do you think about 10 minutes?
Works
Sounds
for
good.
me.
Talk to you in a bit. So, you appear in the middle of a dining room. It's a large dining room. The ceilings are about 5 meters tall. There's several marble columns all around. And this dining room is really a small table. They're sitting for 3 people. On top of the table, there's obsidian plates and full cutlery and cups and glasses and everything for a really rather fancy meal. Again, for 3 people. What do you want to do?
There is, to be clear, no one else present.
There is no one else present. Yes. However, you do feel this, let's say, eagerness, like you are waiting for something.
Is there any iconography in the room?
You take a moment to examine the area, and I think you notice in the chairs, which are made of obsidian and heavy, of course, as well as the cutlery, that these chairs are carved with, again, a feather on the backside. It's not really noticeable unless you are looking for it.
There's the same feather on each chair?
There's the same feather on each chair,
Okay.
yes.
Well, unless you tell me not to, I'm going to have a seat.
I let him sit first.
Her, but yes.
Or sorry, her. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you take a seat, and in front of you there's all these silverware made out of obsidian. Maybe you take one of the plates. It seems it's heavy and it's really, really well made. And you start to feel extremely hungry as soon as you sit down.
Well, I'm already feeling extremely hungry because I was absolutely lying before to the grandma about.
I had some of this too. I had some of hers too. It was actually pretty good.
Look, I've traveled around enough that I know you need to be careful about accepting food when you've just teleported into a strange area and are in someone else's home.
Yes, yes. Fine. Be suspicious.
We don't want another repeat of the Sylph incident. But I take a seat.
As soon as you take a seat, rather, as soon as Ostran takes a seat, Lita, you suddenly feel like you are having trouble reaching up out of the table, And Ostran, as soon as you take a seat, you suddenly feel taller. And as you look across the table, you see yourself.
I sort of waggle my eyebrows and give a wink.
And you see your body, Lita, winking at you.
You never looked so good.
And you have swapped bodies in that moment.
Yikes. I'm gonna have a lot to explain to my mother.
What do you want to do?
Don't worry. I'll handle the words.
And again, Ostran, you are feeling extremely hungry as soon as you sit down, even more than you were already feeling.
Is there food on these plates?
There's no food at all in these plates. And there's this feeling of eagerness, like I don't know, like New Year's, like that you are feeling that midnight is coming. You feel that something is about to happen.
I sort of look around and speak portentously. The table is set. The guests are here. Which sounds weird to me hearing it in Lita's voice, but and not my own one that I'm used to.
That sounds so weird.
Come, join us.
As soon as you do that, you hear horns start playing a tune, fanfare for the guests, and it's in crescendo, and then suddenly it's like wah 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 wah.
Reminds me of my time with the druid.
We're missing a guest. I guess.
Yeah, reminds me of my time with the druid.
Yeah, well, unless you have her in your back pocket.
Not anymore.
You're looking around. There's the dining room. There's at least one other door, as well, made of heavy obsidian.
I think we're gonna have to rouse the guest out. I say, climbing awkwardly down from this chair.
Do we still have our own abilities?
No, you wouldn't.
Okay, so we've switched sheets as well as okay. So I will bring up that other PDF just in case. And I sort of like instinctively lag behind, and then I'm like, oh wait, no.
Sorry, buddy, you're first. Or madam.
Yeah, so I stride up to the door with my trident and shield ready, but not looking super. I'm just sort of like, I'm not like braced, like ready to attack, more to sort of like on guard in case something happens.
Okay.
And then I sort of give a rap on the door with the butt of the staff, butt of the trident.
You push the door, which this is heavy, but it's easier now that you are bigger and you feel it. Maybe you push it and your strength is larger than you were expecting. The door pushes forward.
I think I get carried away.
And you see yourself in a kitchen. kitchen. There's all sorts of things to cook. There's some chests for grains, things of that kind. What do you want to do?
No other doors leading out of here, and no people.
There doesn't seem to be another door leading out.
Do we have to
Well,
cook dinner?
let us. Unless there's something already cooked, yeah. I'm gonna need
The
something to
most
stand.
prominent thing here is a large oven.
I sort of go up and examine the oven.
You look in it, and it seems to be lit. And next to the oven, there's all these molds for different shapes of cake.
It's locked. You said the oven?
No,
it's lit.
there's a cake.
It's
It's lit up,
okay.
and there's a cake in the oven.
There's molds for different cakes just out of the oven.
But there's not a cake in the oven.
There's not a cake in the oven at this moment.
Oh,
Are the
okay.
molds full of dough?
No, but there's enough ingredients to make dough if you like to do that.
Look, I fancy myself something of a gourmand. You sort of have to be if you want to survive in the dating scene in the Imperium, or at least as far as I know, I have something of a gourmand with something of a talent in the kitchen. We'll see if those talents are still with me, but I begin immediately trying to whip up a cake of some sort.
Sure.
I'll try to make a savory.
Okay,
There-
for sure.
Fish or anything like that can.
Are we rolling with our own traits still? As
Yeah, I would say you're rolling with your own traits. Yes.
Okay.
What do you want to apply?
Well, I think the I can't resist a pretty face has given me a background in cooking and baking to try to impress the many pretty faces I've tried to get with over the years.
Makes sense. Lita, what do you want to? You're making a savory. Would you like to try to apply one of your traits?
I don't think my traits work here. My traits are great when serious problems are going down. But cooking is a different matter altogether.
You can cook something decent enough. Maybe not extremely palatable,
I'll
but
just make
decent
something
enough.
simple. Yeah.
Well, maybe the person who died because of a mistake you made was a mistake in the kitchen.
Yeah, you know, I have a knife here, and I could jab you with it if I really felt strongly.
I think give me an intelligence check, Ostrom.
Okay, so I'm rolling with my intelligence stat or Letha's.
Your own stats? I don't know.
I think you're on. All these scenarios are always kind of weird for that kind of stuff, but I think you're on, yes.
All right, so that is 18 plus 0.
It is good enough. I mean, you probably... What's your favorite food? There were favorite foods on the...
Yes, honey flame bread. Fried dessert soaked in honey, coated in Marquesian spices. Oh, it's delicious. And all the ingredients are here.
It can't hold a candle
Makes
to
sense.
can't hold a candle to sauerbraten. No, that'll put meat on your bones.
And it also makes sense because it's a peasant dish. So
No, it's absolutely a peasant dish, and you really can't screw it up either. If you start with pickled horse, if they have pickled horse meat here, then you know it's pretty much, as long as you don't burn it, it comes out fine.
Dear, if you say you can't screw up that dish, it's only because it's already screwed up from the conception.
Pickled horse meat.
You can't make it any worse. Actually, I can think of like 3 ways I could. Never mind. Please don't do any of those.
As you are speaking, you put the honey flame bread in the oven, and it starts baking. Do you want to do anything else?
I sort of breathe in the smells as the baking starts. Really enjoy, waft them in, and then I go over to see if I can help this clunky fighter in a very handsome halfling's body figure out how to cook their disgusting peasant dish.
Do you tell me, Lita, how does the sauerbraten goes?
Oh, if they have pickled horse meat, it's a matter of chopping up the cabbage, adding it to it, and giving it a good solid boil until the pickling juices have come out and saturated the cabbage, and the meat has become tender.
Somehow,
the only thing you have to do is you have to
every
watch.
sentence of that
You just have to
recipe
watch to
got
make sure.
worse.
And the only thing you have to do really is to make sure that it doesn't go dry. You have to just watch the liquid level and top it up with a little
Unfortunately, you don't find pickled horse here. You will have to settle for veal.
It's not the same.
Astran, you look at this veal and it's perfect. It's the most the most delicious veal you've seen. It's perfectly marbled. All the fat, it seems to be just ready to be cooked. But yeah,
what are you complaining about? Look, no, stop looking through the cupboards. Here, use this. It will make it better.
Fine. So, yeah, the vinegar and the chopped garlic and the cabbage go in there.
It's just not the same.
Where I really excel almost surely is in like trail cooking. Like something brought down with an arrow.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that, if only because I hate trail cooking, doing it myself, and am happy. I think I sort of play up my incompetence with trail cooking and your competence.
So I'll probably barbecue something. I'll do something, on skewers, because that's the most like cooking over a fire. If I can't have pickled horse meat.
As you are cooking, a second door appears here in the kitchen.
That wasn't there before.
Or we just didn't notice. Is that immediately open or anything?
No, but it's also a different door. It's made of this glass paneling. You can look through the door. The sun rays start passing through.
Does that look like normal sun rays or divine sun rays?
They look normal enough. I don't think you will recognize them as divine, but they are a bit weird for sure.
That might be our way out.
Well, we can at least wait until after dessert.
Of course, after dinner.
Okay, I go inspect the door and open it if I don't find anything of note.
Don't open the door yet. Leave it alone.
No? Oh, we need a guest. Our guest needs to be here.
Okay, fine. Invite our guests in. Just hold on to something.
You open the door, and it's sort of a balcony. There's a star far away, which is given the light that's passing through the door. And otherwise, it's rather dark outside. But you see in the distance, there's a whale swimming by in the middle of the void. Further still, you see an island, dripping water into the void as well.
Well, those seem familiar.
Does that look like? Sorry. Could you bring up briefly the list of the art to start with? So we can just screenshot that.
The whale jaw with the
Yeah.
spiral pattern was there. And of course, the poem that was dripping water.
I just want to screenshot this so I can get all the details.
There it is.
There we go. Hang on. All right. Oops, sorry.
Do not move there.
Yeah. Okay. I have my screenshot. I wave in the direction of the whale, not really expecting it to do anything.
Yeah, he's too far away for it to notice you.
He's too big to come to our table.
Well, that's rude. There are 3 things you never talk about with your guests, and one of them is how much they weigh.
I didn't say he was too heavy. I said he was too big.
There's a river flowing through the sky as well. But this water is weird. You notice it, and it's not really flowing as water would. It's rather like a blue piece of fabric being torn on the sky. And you see a mountain as well.
Does the mountain look familiar?
The mountain does look familiar, yes.
The mountain is not on the island.
The mountain is not on the island, no.
Okay.
You said the plates and the cutlery here were made of obsidian. What is the table made of?
The table is made of obsidian, out of obsidian as well.
That's what okay.
And there's no obvious way that we can get anywhere. Everything is far away.
Everything is far away, yes. Yes, from where you're standing, yes. The last thing you notice, like next door, which is the closest one, which is still far away, but the closest one, is a little house, not the cabin from the mountain, but a little house next door. It seems abandoned.
I go back and check on the honey flame bread. Make sure it doesn't burn.
Take the meat off and let it sit.
As you take it out, there's a gong sound in the dining room.
Dinner is served.
All right.
And with oven mitts, I carry the dessert. I let him go first. Him, now, literally, correctly. I let myself go first with the entree. And I follow with the dessert.
You arrive and there's still no one sitting down. But the feeling that you had in the dining room has changed somewhat. It's like this feeling you have, you feel suddenly talkative as you are approaching the table.
I mean, I absolutely do not need the slightest bit of encouragement to fill the air with conversation, even though I'm doing it in a strange voice from a somewhat much higher vantage point than I'm used to. So I wonder how much of this play act will have to go out further until we fulfill the riddle, so to say.
Well,
Uh,
we're still waiting for our guest. Hello.
I put the dessert on the table.
And then I will take the meat, and I will carve 3 portions, and I will put a portion in each plate.
As soon as you put out the meat, there's a name that materializes in each of your heads, Gadu. And you know that Gadu herself has sit down at the table, even though she is not there physically. And as I was saying,
Gadu.
go ahead. Gadu, yeah. And as I was saying, you feel suddenly talkative. And you feel Gadu asking you for one of your deepest secrets in order to pass a pleasant evening of dining.
Yeah, no.
Might be the price of admission.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's awkward. It's fine, but I did a catfishing scheme once on it was I thought it was a rich merchant trying to bilk the money out. Turns out, it absolutely worked to a charm. I got all money to eat for a year. It was great. But it turns out that merchant was also a Volstrucker. Once they started paying attention to me, they kept coming. People died with that man seeking his revenge.
You feel a question popping out in your head as Gadu asks to you, is that why you feel you can never be yourself openly?
No, I've always felt that. That just it's a reminder to think twice about the people that other people get hurt. It's not all games. I don't just have to worry about myself, and as multitudinous as I am.
And you can go ahead and write down a new trait that it's not all games. And Lita, you feel the conversation moving on to you.
Yes. Hey, Austrian, I never told you why I can't go home.
I start to make a quip about what kind of home it would be, and the words die on my lips.
Ever since as far back I can remember, I was a runabout kind of kid, never holding still, always trying to climb trees that were a little too tall, always trying to get a little too close to dangerous animals and run away at the last minute. And And one time I was, there's a fast-moving stream that goes through part of our lands. And one time I was squatting up on and balancing on some wet rocks. You know, to see if I could do it without falling into this. My father caught me, and he grabbed me, and he said, "You like playing with danger, do you? You want to see your mother cry, make your brothers and sisters miserable? Is that what you want to do? Is it?" And he dangled me over the stream, and I screamed at him to stop, and he shook me, and he lost his grip on me. And I fell into the stream, and I was washed downstream. I broke my leg, and I almost drowned. It took them half a day to find me. And I'm pretty sure they all thought I was dead. And my father has never spoken a word about that ever since. But he has also never been comfortable being in the same place with me for any longer than he had to be.
You feel a question forming in your head as well, and is that why you never let go of yourself?
That's why I can't ever let myself make a mistake.
And you can go ahead and write down, I can never let myself make a mistake as a trait.
I have a trait that's rather like that. Do you have a suggestion for something slightly different?
Not at this exact moment, but I will think about it for the rest of the session.
Okay. Anyway, so I left as soon as I, as soon as my adult ritual was completed. Pretty much packed up and left 5 days later.
As you put your cutlery down, with the sound of the cutlery in the table, you find yourself standing up in the gallery, and there's a person standing next to you. Well, not really a person. There's a butler's what's the word? Uniform, standing up next to you, with a tray in front of you, with a cover. This entity opens the cover, and in the tray there's a glass angel food cake, with a little feather on top of it as decoration. It's little, but it's extremely beautiful. And you know this is the feather that you were looking for.
Are we back in our own bodies?
You are back in your own bodies, yes.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
I don't know. I thought that was a very interesting experience.
Yes, well, you could see over things.
Look, the Switch wasn't all good, but it had its perks, and I learned a lot.
Oh, I was amazed at all the stuff you can do. Good gravy. I felt like just doing cantrips just because I could, but I decided no. That would be like spending somebody else's money because you happen to have their wallet.
Sahanine, she doesn't like me being too frivolous with it, but do we want to try to put these feathers on the statue so we don't have to carry them all around?
Where's the statue?
The broken artifact in the center?
Well, I think we do, except I don't know how to get there. Do you?
Well, it's something like there's an actual statue or something, isn't there?
Yes, there's a broken down, yes, a statue, a sculpture in the center.
Oh, you mean here? Here
Yeah.
where the dining
Yes.
table is. Oh, I didn't.
No, here in the gallery. You are back in the gallery.
Oh, back in the gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should. Let's try it.
Do we see any obvious way? Like, I mean, I take the feather, I guess, and let you take the glass, and I sort of just like move it into the proximity of the statue to see if that activates anything.
As you move these artifacts closer to the sculpture, they start floating around, and some of the pieces that were in the floor start floating around as well. It doesn't form any discernible figure at the moment, but you are in the right path for sure.
All right.
And give me a second. Yes. And as it starts spinning and forming, as it starts spinning and trying to form something, you see it pointing towards the whale jaw that there's in the gallery.
Just if we could pause for a moment. A possible suggestion for Letha's trait could be something along the lines of like never let anyone support me or hold, like something like don't let myself be held again or something like that.
What do you think, Lita?
I think that's very appropriate. Never rely completely on anyone.
Okay, sure.
That sounds like a perfectly appropriate, terrible trait to have.
What do you want to do?
Well, I want to go around and inspect each of the pieces of art without going into them.
Sure. Are you looking for something in particular? Are you?
I just like we went up to the poem. We got we expected that, and we saw that, oh, there's something about a missing lover of dove, etc. I just want to get a sense that if we go into one of these worlds and we see something, I want to be able to know, maybe a giant fish was something we should have been looking out for. We didn't know that. I don't think that's likely, but it's the kind of thing that I want to make sure I have all the information I can before we go into one of these worlds.
Give me a second. Okay, I'm gonna give you some information in order just because it's easier for me. Starting from the top, actually. As you approach the tapestry and start examining it, you notice this one you can examine fully without going in. Give me a second. It is... Yes, it's several people basically carrying around water. There's a water mill. There's a water mill. And you see them moving ever so slightly, especially the water, which reminds you of the river that you just saw in the sky. It's made of... It's woven together, so you see the threads
one by one each, not by knot. And you notice that the wheel from the water mill is not turning as it should. You also notice that from the right-hand corner of the tapestry, it's sitting by books or by some kind of bug.
And this is to be clear, the tapestry that the Seraph and his art critic guys was trashing all over.
Yes, Angelo.
Yeah.
To the right, well, you have examined the poem. So I was telling you, the poem speaks about missing lovers and the, what's the word I'm looking for? The loss of a golden age is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
There's not much more information you can gather from it other than the water and the loss of a lover, the loss of a golden age. In the jaw, what you notice, give me 1 second. Give me an intelligence check, please. An intelligence or a wisdom check. I think both will apply here. We're trying to make some kind of meaning out of this.
Does bonds of friendship have anything to do with this meaning?
Really, you do? Yes. Go ahead and roll with your proficiency die.
So that's 17 plus 4, 21.
Yeah, that's enough. This speaks about, as I was telling you, it's carved with spirals and this kind of stuff. But you notice the symbology. And from one end of the jaw to the other end, there's a very similar circle carved. And basically you gather that these two symbols belong together as complements of each other.
The circle and the spiral?
Yes, as complements of each other. I'm not sure I will give you much more information without you going there, but yes, there's this longing for the two figures to be together as friends. That's what you notice in the symbology. And give me a second, for the animal pelt. The animal pelt is, all of these works of art have something unique about the technique, but this is, let's say, the most classic one. The one that the general public would say is art, to put it in another way. You see the depiction of a house, a really similar house to the one you saw next door to the dining room. But as you get close to it, there's a smell of sickness. Like when somebody has a fever and you can smell it around them. There's a smell of sickness, of some kind of, I want to say corruption, but that's not the word because that's the only word that's coming to myself.
Yeah. I follow you.
Yeah.
All right. And that's everything that we haven't visited yet. Okay. Well, we are drawn to the whale jaw.
What about, so does that mean, did we visit the marble table?
Yes. That was the dinner.
I'm for that.
So I go over to the whalebone and get a little cozy with it.
Give me 1 second. Okay. You go to the wall and get cozy with it.
As far as I know, that's how these things work.
You appear suddenly on a whale, swimming across an endless sky. Give me 1 second. As soon as you appear,
Not just any whale.
A space whale.
as soon as you
No.
appear, go ahead.
No, I mean a a whale with half its bones showing and 3 eyes
Yes.
on each side.
That's
This is a
similar to the most
gigantic
whales I've
animal.
seen.
This is a gigantic animal. You actually appear in a village on top of the back of the whale, on top of the head of the whale. There's mushrooms all around you, tall as trees. And the people here have carved their houses inside the trunks of these mushrooms. You appear, you interrupt what they were doing. People start murmuring, and they approach you like, I want to say like, I love this one. Sorry, I didn't wrote this one, but I love it because the creatures here remind me about the aliens in Toy Story. They look at you and they are just glad that you are here. They ask you. They tell you came from outside. Are you all right?
Getting here, I feel a lot better.
You notice a little scent of decomposition. Maybe it's because of the mushrooms. Maybe it's because of the giant carcass of a whale swimming across the space that you are standing in. But you notice a little smell of decomposition.
Just as long as it's not familiar smell.
And
Because then I'll want to know. Then I'll want to know the story about it.
Any signs of circles and/or spirals?
any sense of circles of and spirals? Yes. Opening her way among the crowd, you see a snail about 5 feet tall, a 5 feet tall snail walking towards you. And of course, in her, what's the word?
Shell?
In her shell, yes, thank you. In her shell, there is a spiral, exactly the same spiral that you were noticing in the jawbone. She is carrying an umbrella. How it's hard to tell because she, of course, has no arms. And
How is she carrying that umbrella easily?
And she asks if you will be so kind to take this letter to the tail of the whale. And she tells you, it's been so long since someone has gone there, and I miss Francine so much.
Of course, my lady. We'll be happy to carry your letter.
And to whom are we speaking, so that we may tell
She
Francine?
introduces herself as Pearl. She introduces herself as Pearl, and she says, "Thank you so much. It's just that as she is still moving towards you, it takes me so long to get there."
Think nothing of it. It's fortunate that we happened along.
And can you tell us a little bit more about what Francine looks like, so we can recognize her?
She looks rather much like me, but she's wearing a purple scarf, she says. She's always wearing something purple in her person. And I was hoping that she will be able to make it for dinner next week, hence my letter.
What an interesting world you have here.
She says, yes, it's interesting. It's weird, but give me 1 second.
Does it have a name?
But it's also a bit dangerous if you don't know where you're heading to. And she tells you it's Whalefall. It's how they call it.
What dangers should we particularly be on the lookout for?
Give me 1 second. The bones of the creature form these strange creatures. These strange creatures as you are heading towards the middle of the body. Last time I saw one with gigantic tusks. It was rather scary.
Do you need us to escort Francine back? How will she get here for your dinner?
She says, no. Francine probably can get somebody to bring her back here. Besides, you're from outside. Aren't you? You're
Indeed.
probably looking for a way to go back home.
Eventually. We're in no rush, though.
Nice stroll down the whale seems like the very thing.
Do not worry about Francine. Do not worry about Francine. But nearby her house, there's someone that will be able to help you, I'm sure.
Well, we haven't a moment to lose then.
No, not if their invitation is to arrive in a timely fashion.
Miss Pearl waves you goodbye, and she says, give me 1 second. Here, and she says, may the prophet of devouring look after you.
Prophet of devouring?
The prophet of devouring, yes.
I'll take that as a
Yes,
well,
thank you
wait.
so much. May the mischievous lady look after you.
May the one. Yes.
Go ahead.
And may the bringer of dreams send you only true visions.
He says, I haven't heard of those ones. Are those good ones?
More or less. You know, Sanine is she can be tempestuous, but we understand each other.
She waves you goodbye as you start making your way towards the tail of the whale.
So, Austrian, if I may have implied in one of our previous discussions that I was highly familiar with the terrain to be found on the backs of giant, half-skeletal, six-eyed sky whales, I may have exaggerated.
Something fairly closely along those lines.
I may have exaggerated slightly.
That's not like you. That's very much more like me.
This is a new one on me. Wow.
Well, I'm afraid your premature boasting has left us no choice but to let you take the lead.
Well, that's the way it always is, right? You can hide behind me, but I can't hide behind you, so it just makes sense.
Lead on, brave warrior.
Yep.
A snail needs us.
As you leave the village, the back of the well starts to be covered in seaweed and barnacles. You find some farmers. You find some farmers taking the seaweed, but they, as you approach, they seem startled. They get scared. But as soon as they look at you, they seem to relax and wave over. They are for certain nervous about something.
Hello. We are passers-by delivering on an errand of kindness. What seems to be the trouble?
One of the farmers answers you. The creature that's attacking this week. Last week it was this bird, this flying thing made out of bones. The week before that, it was this. It was just a wheel made out of the ribs of the whale, and this one, it's this titanic creature with large tusks, and it's eating all of the crops down over there at the tail, closer to the tail.
How titanic are we talking about?
As you are talking to them, they are mushroom people, most of them, who are smaller than Ortan. So they say at least 10 bodies tall.
That's a hefty tusk there.
It is. Boy, I know some traders who would go crazy for that.
Eye on the prize, Letha. Eye on the prize.
No, it's too big for us to carry around. I'm just saying.
Oh, I'm sure we'd find a way, but we just don't not. All-powerful god artifact first. Big tusk second.
Yes. I'm just saying if they'll pay 50 purses for a Gaiji's tusk, imagine what they pay for something that big.
Well, we'll seize the opportunity if we take it, but let's get on the way. We'll keep our eye out.
I'm going to start closing the session. So, as you are heading towards the tail, give me, please, both of you, wisdom saving throw. If you have marked proficiency, you can roll your proficiency.
Proficiency in what?
In wisdom saving throws.
Oh, in wisdom saving throws.
Which I think only Ortan has.
Yeah.
Yeah, only Ortan.
I don't-
So that's 9 plus 4, 13.
I don't know how to tell what my proficiency.
You have a dot mark next to your saving throws.
Oh, next to the saving throws. There we go. Okay, strength and con. Yeah. Okay. Well, I failed. Period. Because I got
a 13.
I got a natural 1. So.
Okay, with 13, I think you do notice what's happening, but you notice it's just short of too late.
Nice.
Boy, I could say the same thing about a lot of my relationships.
At least I have my shield and my weapon once they heard about the tusk thing, but I've been clearly paying more attention to how squishy the whale is when you step on it.
Yes, for sure. Actually, as you are walking, there's these holes in the flesh of the whale that are filled with water. There's trees growing. There's seaweed.
Yeah, so I'm trying not to break an ankle by stepping into a hole, and so I don't notice whatever it is that.
And just behind this gigantic barnacle that's barnacle that's in the flesh of the whale, that's basically a boulder. You hear just in time. You see what will resemble a mammoth go behind the walk behind the barnacle and move its head towards you. It has 8 eyes in total, and you see some red light going from its chest, emanating from its chest. And the smell of rot is almost unbearable next to a creature.
Do you think it's undead?
I think it is undead. Yes, I think it is undead for sure.
And it stinks. It's moving. It smells like death and moving. Let's see. If I check my handbook.
However, Lita, as you see these mammoths, this for sure undead mammoth, you feel from the light that's emanating from its chest, you somehow feel the power of the Luxon within this creature. Do you want to do something else before we end the session?
Brace for impact.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to turn undead, but
yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, Ostran sighs and steps forward, pulling out from around his neck it's a little medallion of a mask, one of the sort of two-sided mask emblems, and he holds it up and says, I see through your tricks, creature. You cannot pretend to be alive. Go be fully dead, and don't insult us with this masquerade.
That's wisdom saving throw, right? Yes.
Yep, he has to make a wisdom saving throw. And
or shrug its shoulders and go home.
Which is 12 plus my do I roll my proficiency die?
Yeah, you rolled your proficiency die, yes.
Yeah. So 18 is what it needs to hit. I rolled a 6.
I don't think it's gonna get anything. Give me. Yeah, no, not at all. Tell me how does the mammoth react when you do this?
I'm assuming it's not so weak that it would be destroyed.
No, it's not so weak that
yeah.
it will be destroyed now.
So Senin's turning of the undead is not like a Pelor turning undead, where it's brilliant light that forces the undead to avert their eyes and flee in terror. In this case, the mammoth just sort of like blanches and, like, despite itself, sort of slinks away in shame. As it is forced to...
it acts confused. It's like, what just happened now? There.
Spend its turns trying to move as far away from it as it can. And I think there's some real long sight lines in the back of this whale. So
let's just keep up with it to make sure that it.
No. We want to let it get far away. We just want to make sure it can see us. It has to spend its turns moving as far away from us as it can, including the dash action. And it lasts for 1 minute or until it takes any damage.
Okay, yeah, sure. It ashamedly walks away from you. emanating this red light as it's going, and it starts pulsing, like basically like its heart, it's pulsing away as it's walking.
Right. Let's put some distance between us and it, shall we?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. How about they'll just trot? How fast can you go?
You know I hate running.
I know that. Wouldn't it be a good idea though? It seems like this would be a good idea.
You keep trying to get me into this jogging thing. I do not believe that's actual exercise.
You can't actually. Well, it doesn't. Jogging doesn't noticeably speed you up. So it's pretty much run or walk.
I start running.
Just staying.
It's just a bit faster than you are, but sure, you can start tracking it from there. And so that's where we are going to end our session for today.
Nice job. Wasn't looking forward to tangling with that thing.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you both. I'm going to stop the recording, and we're going to do a quick debrief.